So yeah, today I wanted to go chat a little bit more about acceptance and just allowing things in our life and really embracing where we are and realizing just, we're responsible for everything in our life. We're realizing why we are where we are and how we're here kind of thing. And then really just talking about ways to overcome that and feeling if we're yo-yoing and going through cycles of motivation and then slacking and feeling like we should be doing more with ourselves. Just different ways to reprogram ourselves with body awareness, and then I'll go over 10 different steps that can help just to help us overcome and be an allowance, be trusting, be at ease with ourselves as we go through life, and just always working on that journey or working through that journey of self-discovery and growth. So we'll start with just a meditation, sitting up nice and tall, and just thinking about things that you want to let go. So society's expectations, our expectations we have of ourselves, just bringing your awareness to your normal breathing. So bringing the awareness to the breath and the tip of the nose can really help us just get centered, bring us into the moment, and help calm, balance both hemispheres of the brain. So just scan the body, relaxing the face, relaxing the eyebrows, the forehead, and just feeling that breath on the tip of your nose. So as you're relaxing the body, just visualize the cells that create and make up the entire body. Every nerve, every bone, every joint, every muscle, every organ, the capillaries. Just letting go of who you think you are, who we think we're supposed to be, just based on belief systems that we picked up. So you just want to let all that go. Focusing on the normal breathing. Just feel how the body moves as one as you breathe in, breathe out slow. Just feel the subtle breath on the tip of your nose. So how gentle, how peaceful is the breath as you're breathing in and exhaling slow. Just bring that peacefulness throughout the entire body. So scan the body from the crown of the head. So like you're scanning the inside of the body. So scan the inside of the body from the crown of the head down, the back of the neck, down the face, the shoulders, just through the chest, through the abdominal cavity, through the legs. Just releasing all that tension. Again, just bringing that peaceful feeling to the body as if it's the energy. Your breath is as still as a lake. And slowly open your eyes. So sometimes when we're going through the self-discovery journey, it's hard to create a balance in our lives because of our environment or people that influence us, and having other generations in our lives, family and friends around us, that everyone's going to see our dreams and visions in a different way as well. So we all live in our own minds, we all live in our own world. Especially when we're transitioning, this can be difficult. So choosing healthier things for ourselves that some people might not, everyone's at a different area in their life, a different place in their path, that we have to work on tuning into ourselves and what works best for us. And that can be difficult depending on our environment, where we are, because the brain has mirroring neurons, so we do end up being like the people we surround ourselves with as well. So we want to work on reprogramming ourselves and changing our subconscious behavior. Our conscious behavior is about 5% of what we use in the brain. It's focused on the past, the present, and the future of who we think we are, what we see visually. 95% is subconscious, and that is always in the present moment. It's always in the now. It's like when people say there's no such thing as time, the subconscious is always in the present moment. So those stored active memories, to the brain, when we envision things that happened in the past, we relive it. It's like it's happening now again. It's because it's all stored in the subconscious. So if we visualize something, or we repeat that, whatever type of experience we've had, the memories will be stored there with those emotions, and we'll relive it. Or to the brain, it's the same thing as what we watch on TV, things that we're looking at all the time. To the brain, it doesn't matter if we think about it or if we actually see it. It still creates that energy and those feelings in the body. So a way to bring ourselves more into awareness and more into exercising our brain, the weak parts of our brain and the areas in our lives we want to work on strengthening, changing our habits and shifting ourselves and changing our lives. So thinking of a plant growing, just how much time it takes after you plant the seed for the little plant to grow. And that's the same thing as going to the gym and changing our eating routine. Within 30 days we can actually create and change habits that, by just being consistent and doing them, will start to become easier, and then we just want to do them. It becomes more fun too. Going to the gym, once you get through those stages of the conditioning the mind to change, the toxins will be flushed out of the system more, oxygen supplied to the brain easier, so on and so forth. So I designed, when I did the yoga online with the meditation, I did it in a 12-week chunk, as in 30, 60, 90-day period, that within 30 days we're going through that conditioning phase and training the brain, the coordination with the body and muscles. And there's also the 12-week journaling. So by thinking and writing down our goals and journaling, going through these questions, it helps to, we're giving out gratitude to the universe. So being in allowance where we are, the things that frustrate us will be there because we haven't really learned how to be in allowance yet. So we want to focus on our senses, focus on, what doesn't feel good to us, and focus on, practicing being in the now, being in what feels good to us. So that's when the body, anxiety, depression, going through different emotions, frustration, will, I like to always say, create a ripple in our lake, so nothing else can affect us unless we allow it to. And we can't control things around us, so we can only react to different situations. So allowing ourselves time to grow, going back to the 30, 60, 90-day cycle, so we can change, and we can change our eating habits, we can lose weight, we can lose inches and tone the body, we can create money and wealth within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And by doing all of this, by getting rid of, by balancing our breath of the body, our eating, our emotions, everything's going to reflect off of the other. So it's all going to move in a cycle. It's all going to fluctuate and it's all going to change. But if we're really consistent, it'll just become a habit, and we'll be able to pay attention to when we feel good and when we don't, and then we won't allow ourselves to get into those, those deep depressions or lazy few days that we know we should have. Even if it takes us 1 hour, it's really 1 hour is 4% of the day to just do a workout, go for a walk, retrain ourselves, and get into that energetic lifestyle. So it is a struggle. It takes some exercising of the brain and balancing. So where you go, spend your time thinking of how it smells, the sights you're seeing, what you're tasting, what you're touching, and what you're hearing. So lose your mind and come to your senses, said Fritz. I think his last name is Powell. I can't see his last name. A psychologist. Lose your mind and come to your senses. So get out of the mind, come to your senses, bring yourself into awareness. And with yoga, we want to practice the yoga. What made me really like yoga was just the amount of time I found myself stretching before I actually went to a yoga class, that you can find the pain in the body. You could let it go. Only we have control of the breath. So only we have control of letting that tension go in our muscles, in our body, in our posture. So meditation, yoga is going to give us clarity. It's going to help us let go of our habitual patterns in the body, which is just a reflection of the mind. So by gaining clarity, awareness, letting go of different repetitive thoughts that we will realize during meditation that hold us back. So being freeing ourselves from those thoughts. And how long are we going to spend our time and our lives living in that fear? So we can't control people, we can only control our reactions. And we must forgive ourselves as well to take our power back, be responsible for where we are in life, and acceptance. So, not everything, if we're unlucky or consider ourselves unlucky, or we're lucky and things are changing, we just have to allow it and know we're going through that transition and that these feelings are going to pass. So you have to practice bringing yourself out of an anxious feeling or out of a depressed state, and depending on how much you get stuck in bed or wherever you are on the motivation scale, you must retrain yourself and reprogram yourself. Day by day, little by little, it's just out-creating yourself, and we're always transmitting a signal. So whatever we give our attention to, the law of attraction is matching that feeling, that signal, and we need to be aware of that. And yes, what we've thought about in the past has created where we are now, and we just have to think about where we want to do better in our life. Where do we need to exercise that part of our brain to catch up with our speed of vibration? So we all are vibrational beings, and we can live even greater capacities than we think we are able to. And we want to practice living in that space, those thoughts, feelings that feel good. And sometimes even if we don't quite think we can get there, we don't know how we're going to get there, but we know our dreams, our goals, that we can achieve it. And we can feel better than allowing anxiety and depressive thoughts, feelings get the best of us, worries, fears. So we need to practice feeling good and keeping ourselves there, depending on how much you get stuck. So yeah, the only reason why things are painful in our lives is because we have not yet learned how to allow, learn to be an allowance. So we get stressed easier, or we feel anxious. And being comfortable, allowing yourself to be comfortable being uncomfortable, knowing that when we choose different situations or going to do different social things with friends, people, that you're always going to meet somebody, or there's a reason why these activities are going on, or there's a reason why the timing of something, an opportunity has presented itself, and it's either happening again until we learn what it's trying to show us, or, you know, sometimes things aren't as scary as we think they are or make them out to be. So things aren't always as they appear to be. And things depress us or cause anxiety. But by being in allowance, we can tune into ourselves, tune into the real vibration, and trusting ourselves that we know life will always continue. Things are always okay. There's really nothing to be depressed and anxious about. There's resistance, and then this creates a glitch in the system, in the body. This creates a glitch throughout the nervous system. And, you know, then we have these masks over us. We have these cloaks over us that, you know, we feel we should act this way because of this person, or we feel that we should do this because that person's opinion is this. And going back to not worrying about what people think of us, that can hold us back as well. So paying attention to our guidance system, and practicing, being determined just to feel good, and allowing. It's easy. So I noticed it was about 7 years ago when I had anxiety and I didn't want to take medication. It was going through a relationship and a breakup that took even over a year to fully get out of, and then even years after that, you know, you still have those thought patterns that are there, different things that are still in the memory that maybe we haven't dealt with, that can creep up again. So right before we kind of completely ended things, I went to the doctor. I said I needed this anxiety pills. I took one and I threw up. I knew my body didn't want it, so I knew there was other ways to overcome that feeling. And it was a couple of years that I had it, and maybe because it was a big transition period in my life, just coming out of massage school, moving to a new city, and then finding a new job, finding my way around it. You know, I always had to remind myself that it's preparing me for something bigger, that I knew I had to go through different learning curves in order, you know, to train myself, to retrain myself, to feel better, to not have to deal with anxiety, to be able to travel freely and contently without feeling like that, because it affects your digestive system, it affects you having fun and being in the moment because of how you've lived and been in the environment previously. So we just want to bring ourselves into the moment, and the more I practice Reiki, body talk, I started going for body talks once a month, every 6 weeks, and it was like peeling away layers of onions. It would find the root cause of different problems or points of creation of different feelings and beliefs that I created that were affecting my body, affecting my energy, and going back to that vibration of not being in tune with yourself. So sometimes the anxiety is there it's trying to tell us something. And when I was at Awesomeness Fest in Puerto Vallarta here in November, and Lisa Nichols, I don't know if you guys know of her, just need a sip of water here. Lisa Nichols, she was telling us a little story about a dog sitting on the front porch and not moving. So, you know, this lady was walking by this house. There's an older couple sitting on the porch. Their dog is there, was moaning and groaning and sounded really sad or sick or something, and she didn't say anything, kept walking. Next day, it's walking by again. The dog is still in the same position, hasn't moved. And the lady didn't say anything again. So she's like, you know, if the dog is still there the next day, I'm going to say something. I'm going to ask, you know, what's wrong with your dog? Why is he crying and whining? And, you know, you're not doing anything about it. So anyways, the next day the dog was still there, and she came back and asked the couple sitting on the porch, how come, what's wrong with your dog? And the lady said, he's sitting on a nail, but he just hasn't moved yet. So it's kind of like he has the choice and he has the ability to move off of this nail, but if it's not painful enough yet, then we're not going to choose to change those things in our lives and really commit to it and do it so that we can feel good, so that we get off of our chest, we get off our shoulders those responsibilities that we want to implement into our lives. Because there's years that I spent sitting on the couch after work, make dinner, I try to go to the gym every once in a while, but it wouldn't happen consistently, and you'd be tired after work. But think about how many hours you have extra. And I know with kids it's a different story, but thinking of how many hours you have in a day, where you spend your time emotionally, and that 4% of your day is a workout. And if you're sitting there, wondering what else you could do with your time, even reading for half an hour a day, meditation for 5 or 10 minutes can start to train yourself, start to undo patterns and worries, stress on the brain. Even meditation and focusing on breathing helps to decrease inflammation in the body and the mind, which inflammation is responsible for Alzheimer's, heart disease, and different things, joint pain, aches and pains in the muscles, and so many things. So it's good to just calm the thinking that creates vibration, creates frequency throughout the body, and just calm it down, so we'll decrease those thoughts, even though they'll always be there. So really watching your thoughts, knowing that you can change your vibration. Yes, we've had those thoughts, and what we've done in the past doesn't have to create what we do now. We don't have to continue doing what we've done. And so all that matters is now, what you choose to do now, where we spend our time thinking, choosing to not spend 6 hours a night watching TV, and that, maybe you can spend the next 4 after you've done a workout, gone for a walk, cleaned your room, did your paperwork, whatever you needed to do, and then reward yourself with things. So keep in balance, and definitely just whatever it is that's your goal, even if it's journaling, if you can take an hour for yourself in the morning, maybe longer, to journal, write down how you're feeling, what your goals are for the day, what you feel you could do different from the day before. Hi. Sweet. I don't know how to block out. Can you turn off your mic?
Me?
Yeah.
I had trouble getting on here.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why it's different today.
Turn it down?
Well, can you just shut your mic off? I don't know how to. Okay, so going through 10 steps to helping eliminate anxiety, depression, stressing, and tuning into your body, retaining or retraining yourself, and being an allowance of letting things unfold so that we don't stress ourselves more. Number 1, our environment is huge. Noticing what we do with, what we're listening to, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, and becoming aware of our body and how we breathe, paying attention to the breath and how the breath moves through the body. So by paying attention to the breath and the body's posture, that neuroplasticity, it's called, when we're retraining ourselves, is is going on in the nervous system. So we can retrain ourselves, changing up your routine, changing up the way you do things, and within 30 days you can change the way, the way your day unfolds. So doing something a little bit different each day, you're going to train the body, you're going to feel different, you're going to grow new neurons, challenge the brain, and the longer you implement those strategies, meditation, a little bit, 5 minutes longer of your workout or yoga, stretching routine every day, go a little bit longer if you're going for a walk or a jog. Again, which is why I did the 12-week yoga meditation journaling plan with the diet guide, so that it's a step-by-step program that you can work through. So undoing habits and noticing what you do when you get upset, that if you do the same things, that we're creating a stronger bond to an activity or a place, and the brain can undo that habit. So first of all, we need to be aware, and that can help us change it. So okay, so some technical problems today. And number 2. So number 1 was environment, and noticing our environment around us, neuroplasticity, how the brain can change, and changing up our routine, changing up the way we do things. And epigenetics. So Bruce Lipton, he's a doctor. He did the documentary The Biology of Belief on how our environment shapes our genes. So it's all about epigenetics and how that changes our DNA, alters the way we're conditioned from the time we're little. So working on 10 ways to be an allowance and eliminate anxiety, bringing yourself into the present moment. Number 2, lack of self-love, not focusing on what other people think, not choosing and making decisions because of what other people think, feeling good enough, and that you don't have to please other people. So at the end of the day, we're all alone, we're all with ourselves, and nobody can take care of ourselves the way we do. So nobody's opinion should affect us and how we live our lives, because then we're choosing from somebody else's, the way somebody else lives, and we're not tuning into ourselves. So number 3, changing the words that you use to talk to yourself. Again, coming into your awareness, coming into your breath, and then thinking about how and where you spend your time during the day, talking to yourself when you're driving, when you're getting ready to go out during the day, go to work, and where you spend your time choosing to do the same things that you do over and over. And rewarding yourself. So we're usually too hard on ourselves. We usually focus on what's not going right, rather than focusing on what we're grateful for. Going to number 4, letting go of control, changing how other people see you. So how other people see you is an illusion, because we can create that in our mind. Sometimes, depending on who the people are, they'll tell you how they feel about you, but it's all an illusion. So the only thing we have control over is how we respond to that external stimuli. We need to control from the inside out, and you cannot control the world from the outside in. So you have to let go of that anxiety, let go of those thoughts, and react from the inside. So we don't want to be attached to results as well. So depression is we can have expectations, wanting different outcomes all the time, wishing things happen a different way, holding on to the results, being attached to the results instead of being an allowance. So we also must let go of what we think we know, because at the end of the day, where did our thoughts originate from? Do you spend time wondering where your thoughts came from, or why we have them, why we have the ones we do? So accepting and keeping in mind, reminding ourselves that we truly don't know, and allowing all that weight off our shoulder as well. So where do our thoughts come from? Where do our beliefs come from? They're all passed down from man. So a man created them. And what is really right or wrong. So it's just practicing being in that feel-good state of what works for you, tuning into yourself, and if you're stressed, if the body's achy, sore, then there's some imbalance going on there. Going to number 5, again, so we did talk about, not worrying about what people think, moving into your body rather than sitting in the mind, just having fun and detaching from this. So letting go of that fear. The more you love yourself, the more your self-love increases, the more your life will flourish, and you can be true to yourself. So practicing, doing less. We think we need to do so much, but when we're doing so much, we actually don't make progress. So you want to just take things step by step and do less. So same with meditation. Everyone, I repeated this or said this last time, that people don't know how to meditate, or they think they don't, so then they don't do it. But we don't really have to do much besides just sit and breathe and monitor the thoughts. So doing less is doing more. And how we see ourselves is important. So that opinion is with you forever. Our perceptions that we have of ourselves are greater than the perceptions that others have of us, because our perception, our feeling that we create of ourselves is with us all the time. So better make good friends with ourselves. Moving past perfectionism, number 6. So you free yourself when you see the whole picture is just a mirage. The duality, it doesn't really matter. A lot of times we want things to be perfect before we're going to progress or change direction or make a choice or do anything different in our lives. Before we start this goal, we want, this and this and this to be perfect, but nothing can be perfected unless we start on the journey, unless we make those steps to learn what we want and what we don't want. And the word Maya actually means illusion, so letting go of that perfection. And maybe, the Mayan Riviera, Maya would mean, just an illusion of what's so perfect. So going to number 7, eating a plant-based diet. We are what we eat. Truly what we eat replaces itself. The body is replaced. The proteins are replaced, those amino acids. Amino acids build the protein in the body, and so eating plant-based diet can change our nervous system, changes our emotions. The colors correspond with different chakras and organs, so we'll go over that in another webinar that goes deeper into the chakras and the connection with food and the emotions. So eating a plant-based diet can help you become your greatest version of yourself. So it really does affect the mood, affect the energy. Going to number 8, moving the body. So exercise is an instrument, listening to your body, because it talks to you and it doesn't lie. So it's trying to tell you something at all times. We can always bring ourselves into the body, into the senses. And that's why I love yoga, moving the body, pushing yourselves each time you notice that each day is different. Your body feels different every day. And you want to move past what you hold impossible in yourself. So moving past what you feel is possible. And it's going to keep you younger, feeling more alive, having more energy, stimulating the brain, and helping you be aware of your thoughts. So bringing yourself that awareness to your breath during the day, throughout the day, can help you come into that moment, being in the moment. So pivoting yourself, noticing that repetitive voice in your head, your repetitive behaviors. Sometimes we'll be doing things we don't even really realize, as a habit we've created, and we just are doing it. So eliminating that and catching that, and then changing your actions, changing what you're doing. And instead of, sitting down watching TV, choose to do 10 minutes of stretching if you're just beginning. Read a book, learn something different that you wanted to. Clean out some of the cupboards that you needed to clean out. And that corresponds with the mind too. So cleaning out the mind, cleaning out physical things that we have as well, physical stuff. Different belongings, clothes, things that you need to get rid of. It's like doing a spring cleaning. And the way we process our thoughts reflects in our digestive system. So it's good to write things out and write down all of our emotions, all our feelings, what we feel. Write letters to someone that you have a lot to say to, some things that you need to get off your chest. It's good to physically write it because it creates that vibration. So, we have that antenna. We have antennas, and we're always giving off a signal. So when we're writing, we're thinking, we're releasing, we're unclogging that subconscious. So, and like with body talk, the one reason I liked it too is because it helps to find the root cause of behaviors, patterns, and then by tapping it out, it helps tap out the stored memory and recharge the brain and the body. So it's like updating your phone, updating your computer. It just helps to reload everything, clear everything out, and give it a reboot. So number 9, loving what you do, finding something that you enjoy doing. So keeping things in your life that you love doing. If your job isn't something that you love, there's always a choice to consider changing it, finding something that you do, and training yourself. If you haven't found something that you do love, try, go to a couple different classes. Maybe an art class or a yoga class, meditation, hire a personal trainer. There's always things that you can learn. And number 10, letting go of justification for your labels, like labels that we create ourselves, things that the way we talk to ourselves. But most of all, our anxiety, our depression, if you say you have it, then, you go to a doctor and they're like, oh, you might have depression. Well, then that person is going to take home that feeling of being diagnosed with that and carry that around with them. So not labeling yourself, or, some people, we did a yoga retreat and people are like, well, I'm an introvert, well, I'm more extroverted, and they are labeling themselves. So we must take away those labels and undo what we feel we are, or what we've created ourselves to be. And just taking a bird's eye view. Don't focus in on the tiny, tiny details of what stresses us out, what's bothering us. Take that bird's eye view, look at everything, look at where you are, accepting it, and things aren't always as stressful as we can make them out to be. So changing your life, you can change your life when you change your focus. It's like our thoughts, our brain, our antennas, balancing those frequencies. And like attracts like, so we'll attract people and situations into our lives because we're giving off that signal as well. So we'll magnetize that to ourselves. So going for a walk in nature, tuning into your breath, moving your body, eating healthy, eating fresh fruits and veggies. It all affects you, but it's about being consistent. The more you notice how good you feel, the more the body will cleanse, the mind will cleanse. It'll be easier to be in allowance, and things that used to bother you won't bother you as much anymore. And breaking the habits in which we take in and how we take in information as well. So we're the creators of our reality, and learning or focusing on our routine and what is serving us. So is your routine serving you? Is it helping you stimulate the brain? Is it helping you, stay healthy? Is it making you feel good? And then looking at areas we can change or eliminate in our lives. So anybody dealing with depression, anxiety, it's bringing that depression out of suppression. So when the more we ignore our emotions, the stronger they become. The energy becomes blocked. We're trying to fit in, we condition ourselves, we create fixed ways of thinking, we stop thinking of thinking of who we should be, and letting go of those expectations. So create total body awareness and practice that, getting out of the mind and living in our bodies, connecting with the world around you, choosing different opportunities that you're presented with that you may not have done before, and just getting yourself comfortable with new situations, being transparent and truthful with yourself. Things happen, but that's when we need to step into allowance, no matter what type of situation it is. We're not victims, and don't let anxiety or depression get the best of you. So tuning in so that you can take your power back and be free. So mentally, we just want to spend time in the moment, and that's going to heal the body. That's going to eliminate anxiety, eliminate depression, and keep you feeling healthy and motivated. So it's natural for you to feel good, and anything else is resisting the natural state of who you are. So that'll be all for today. Going into next week, discovering hidden meanings of our body-mind connection and the universe, more into chakras, more into frequencies, vibrations, and how that heals the body, as well as binaural beats, and using those for energy, focus, concentration, for sleeping, for healing the body and the DNA as well. So it's pretty powerful. So I'm not sure why this week was a little different with the setup. So I'll have to post I'll post next week's link in a few days, and yeah, so hopefully the technology problem isn't the same next week. But thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you guys soon, and have a good night.